Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective. Happy Thursday. It's things to think on Thursday. How is everybody doing today? I'm debating with the Rebel deck and the Guidance deck to start out with for things to think on Thursday. It's also gratitude lesson number 12 today. We are on number 12, and this one is from Ralph Waldo Emerson. So we'll just get started with, you know what, I'm going to go with these. We'll get started with the Rebel deck. Just a fair warning, it contains language. It contains language. So, woo, that one just flew right out, didn't it? Let's see. That one's funny. I just read it. So let's see here. All right. If not, I'll just, as we always do, or as I always do, I'll just split it in half and then go from the top there. Ooh, there's another one. Oops, I accidentally put in there the other thing. All right. So, split in half. Well, that's, oops. It split there. So, all right. I guess that's what it wanted. All right. First one. I like this one. Stop texting, stop stalking, stop checking on that person. Just fucking stop. And spend your time on someone worth it. Don't waste it on ridiculousness. Spend it on, if things went sideways somehow and you've just become obsessed with somebody who should no longer be or is no longer in your life, just let it go. I know easier said than done, but what's it going to do? Just stop. All right. Spend your time on someone worth it. Don't waste it on ridiculousness, which means go for it. Maybe you're just afraid and that's why you're sticking to something that seems familiar. Good morning, baby sibling. So, this one makes me laugh. Step away from the crazy making diet for a hot second. Kale and spirulina taste like ass, but I will say they're great in protein shakes. Eat some yummy shit. Bacon, chocolate, and beer. Get some. Okay, seriously, this is the card that was meant for me. Take a fucking trip. Go see some shit, do some new things, talk to people cooler than you. When you really stop to think about it, because these cards are meant to be kind of snarky snark, there is no one cooler than you. If you believe in yourself and you love yourself and you see yourself the way you were intended to see yourself without being, rather egotistical about it or conceited about it, you can be a very, very cool person. Sorry, guys. I don't know what's happening. My face is so itchy right now. You need some fucking yoga in your life. Ancient shit is cool. All right. If you're waiting for a sign, here it is. Here it fucking is. All right. And I'm going to pull a couple, Rebel, because fuck it. I know, right? Seriously, I love those cards. They're like my favorites. And some of these I actually have not seen yet. Oh my goodness, these things are just floating off the top. If you think someone is lying, they are. Alright, so just, those are your signs. I don't know why I pulled the Rebel deck today. It was very heavy on my mind to do it. Here's another one that's just staring at me. It just says, time to let go, move the fuck on. Alright, I know, they just keep catching my eye. So, ooh, wow. That one just went flying out. Okay, let's see what that one is. I don't know what that means, but winter time. I would like for it to be closer to winter time. It is hot. I know it's hot. I shouldn't complain though, because I don't live in the South, and I have a friend that lives in the South, and a couple of them. And when we talk about humidity out here, they laugh at us because it's like, are you nuts? Which I know it isn't as bad. I mean, I've spent summers in Hawaii where it's just, without a trade one, it would feel like the South. Take a deep breath before making any decisions. Take a deep breath before making any decisions. All right. So those are the guidance cards for this morning. Today we are on gratitude lesson number 12. Good morning, older sibling. So this one is from Ralph Waldo Emerson. Ooh, sorry guys. I went sideways. It all went sideways. But this one's from Ralph Waldo Emerson, and I love his quotes. I love his quotes, but this one I did not handpick myself. It was picked for me by I can't remember, brainintuitive.com. Where is it? Brave Thinking Institute. I wasn't even close. BraveThinkingInstitute.com is where I got these 28 lessons of gratitude. So number 12, cultivate the habit of being grateful for every good thing that comes to you and to give thanks continuously. And because all things have been contributed to your advancement, you should include all things in your gratitude. Ralph Waldo Emerson. So again, cultivate the habit of being grateful for every good thing that comes to you and to give thanks continuously. And because all things have contributed to your advancement, you should include all things in your gratitude, which means, in my perspective, don't be just grateful for the things that you receive. Be grateful for everything around you. You know, if it rains outside, everyone's like, oh God, I hate it when it rains. Believe it or not, come to Southern California for a while and you will see why rain is so important, because we have like zero. Okay, we have zero rain here. Good morning, Eileen. So I'm going to just repeat this one last time. Cultivate the habit of being grateful for every good thing that comes to you and to give thanks continuously. And because all things have contributed to your advancement, you should include all things in your gratitude. So when you receive something great, be grateful. But don't just stop and wait for something amazing to happen to you. Don't just stop and say, oh, well, you know what? I don't have any other reason to be gratitude because nothing has happened for me yet. No one's given me anything. No one's, called me, texted, whatever. Be grateful for everything. I've talked about this before. It has been discussed on the perspective before. The roof over your head, the food in your fridge, the water coming out of your tap, the fact that you have fresh, clean water. Even if you can't drink the water out of your tap, be grateful for the opportunity to have ways to fix that. Or, the refrigerator that gives you the fresh, clean water, right? There are so many things that we can be grateful for. We can be grateful for our clothes, our glasses, the makeup that we wear if you wear makeup, the technology to do all these things. I mention these over and over and over again because I'll be honest with you, for the majority of my life, I never really thought about being thankful for these things. Then when you start to open your eyes and you see all the opportunities that you have that many people do not have, you start to feel a little bit less non-grateful, I guess you could say. There's so much angst going on right now in the world. But then when you stop and you look and you see what other people don't have, you realize it really is kind of a privilege to be able to have freedom of speech. You realize that it is a privilege to be able to say the things that you feel on your heart, to say the thing, whether somebody agrees with it or not, that you have that opportunity to put that out there for now. And a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people don't have that, freedom of speech. A lot of people live in countries where ethnic cleansing has just run rampant through their town, or they're starving, or they don't have clean water, or, they live in, barely a house with dirt on the floor because, they just erected something to shelter them. We forget about these things. The air conditioning that you might have. Not everybody in this country can afford air conditioning. Not everybody in this country has air conditioning. And so they have fans and they swelter, or they have swamp coolers, which kind of make everything more humid anyways, and don't always necessarily work. So these are the things that I think the second half means. And because all things have contributed to your advancement, you should include all things in your gratitude. We should be grateful for everything. Even when it feels like there's nothing to be grateful for, there is always something to be grateful for. If you're struggling mentally and you feel like, oh, my whole world is in shambles, just start being grateful for everything around you. Do you have a roof over your head? Do you have food in your fridge? And sometimes those don't always go hand in hand. There might be somebody who has a roof over their head and not enough to feed their family. So, you know, when you have all these things and you have all these things at your beck and call, when you can open the fridge and say, oh, what do I want to eat? You know, and you're sitting there thinking, oh, nothing I want in here looks good. Well, just remember, and this isn't to guilt anyone. This is to remind us what we have is what we should be grateful for. Because somebody might be looking in your fridge going, wow, look at all this stuff that they have. Or look at all this stuff that's expired and is just wasted. That would have never been wasted in my house. You know? I mean, I've known people who grew up with not a lot. And when you hear their stories, you start thinking, whoa, you know what? I didn't have it as bad as I thought I did. It just, you know, maybe you don't have as much as somebody else does. But you have something, you know, but there's someone behind you that doesn't have as much as you. And that's why we need to be grateful. That's why we need to cultivate the habit of being grateful for every good thing that comes to you. Sometimes we look at the big things, right? You look at these huge, ginormous things and think, oh, wow. And then you wait to be grateful again until something with that, oh, wow, comes back around again. But if you got up this morning, you should be grateful. If you had the ability to just get out of bed without having to reach for some kind of equipment or accessory to help you out of bed, you should be grateful. If you were able to just wander, you should be grateful. Or get into your car, you should be grateful. Not everybody owns a car. Some people have to wait long wait times at, you know, public transit stations or, you know, for public transportation. Or maybe someone's no longer able to drive. I know I could go on and on and on, and I know it feels like a little bit like a guilt fest, and I'm being honest. That is not my intention. My intention is to remind all of us, you know, of what we do have. It's not to feel bad about having it. You shouldn't feel bad about the things you have that other people may or may not have. But just remember, some of these people who don't have what you have may have had everything you had, but they may not have been grateful for it. We take advantage of, you know, all the good things that happen to us, but when we don't have gratitude, we can lose that. Not because, you know, you're ungrateful in your heart, but because you start to worry, you start to overthink, you start to think, oh my gosh. You know, a friend of mine posted a picture of a before and after of what looked like their supply cabinet at work. And I have to tell you, I can't believe how jealous I was that they got to do that. And I know it sounds weird, right? Like some OCD thing that I have to put everything together. And no, I'm not making fun of people with OCD, because I tend to sometimes have that when it comes to organizing. It's like, oh, everything has a place. Everything. I miss my label maker. I do. I had the best label maker in the world. She and I were like this. We were a team. And but I remember organizing that room. But you know what? What I think about now is how I was never grateful. You know, there would be times when I would say, oh, I'm so happy and grateful for my job. But I don't know that I ever felt it and meant it, because I had started going downhill. I started to feel not so appreciated by a lot of people for all the work I did. And a lot of it is because I think a lot of them didn't realize how much work I did until after I was gone. You see, the whole point to me as an admin, so everybody who has one, be kind to them, because a lot of times you really don't know what they do until they're gone. But for me, my job and my intention was to always make everything run smoothly, so nobody had to worry about anything else. If they needed something, they would come to me, I would get it. You know, and maybe some people thought it was frivolous, but to me, what I think is important is that even though it may not have been my company and just a company I worked for, you want to keep your people happy. When they're happy and they're using things that bring them joy, they work better. You know, people will say, oh, it's stupid, it's just a pen. I literally have sitting here right now, and I'm going to use this as an example because I don't think a lot of people understand it. These are all pens, and I have literally used each one of them at different times during the day. Because I'll reach for a pen and go, start writing with this one, which is this really pretty purple pen. And I'll start writing it and going, it just doesn't feel right. You know, it's not sparking my creativity. Then I'll move to this pen and I'll be like, yeah, I kind of like the way it flows, but it's not blue. It's black. And then I'll move to this pen and go, it's blue, but the point is too fine. So then I move to this pen, and it turns out to be, after 4 pens, the perfect one. But I might go back later and think, oh yeah, this one brought me joy. I had a lot of creativity going with it. And I may go backwards to where I end up with this pen or one of these. So sometimes it's more than just what you think is just a pen. Things bring creativity to people when they are focusing less on what they're writing with and more on what they're supposed to be focusing on. It's almost like a meditative tool in a way. And I know that sounds silly to some. Some people will be going, boy, you're really talking out of your ass. But if there's anybody out there that's a lot like me when it comes to that, you'll know that, your writing utensils are an extension of yourself. They are like people picking up a stress ball, right? And just feeling that stress go away. That's what pens are like to me. When I'm writing with the perfect pen, I get so much done. I even had I had 2 pen holders on my desk. One from all my pens from home, which nobody was allowed to touch. And the other set of pens, which were just the office pens. And every so often people would forget and they'd use my pens and they're like, man, your pen is so much better. And I'm like, well, that's because it came from whatever random place I'd been to. And so there really can be a difference. It's like music, right? Some people can work with music. How do you work with music? I can't do it. It distracts me. Other people, as I just mentioned, can't. It's a preference thing. And I know for myself that I probably should have been more grateful in the way I felt about things. Like I said, I try to do everything seamlessly, and I felt undervalued. I felt unappreciated. And I think after a while, that animosity began to show because I forgot to be grateful for the fact, I forgot to be grateful for the people who did see me. I forgot to be grateful for the amount of power I actually had in that office, being able to make all these people happy, regardless of whether they were grateful or not. I forgot that part. I forgot to be grateful. I forgot to be grateful for all the things that contributed to my advancement. I didn't include those in my grateful things. I'd be grateful like the minute the clock ticked and it was time to go home. I'm so happy and grateful I get to go home now. But it's snarky, right? It's not a real sense of gratitude. And when I saw that picture yesterday, I was reminded of that. No, it wasn't my dream job. Sure, it wasn't probably where I was meant to be for the rest of my life. And I honestly think I needed that kick in the butt to move, or I never would have. I'd still be dwelling behind a desk in a place I did not belong, trying to find where I fit in this world. And is the struggle real right now? Oh, it's incredibly real. But I'm starting to learn how to trust the process now. I'm starting to learn how to trust, what comes my way, what is meant to come my way. And I'm not holding back anymore because I'm also not in a place that makes me sad. And that doesn't mean the office was a sad place. I think a lot of times we make it what it is. We bring our own vibe to things. But on the bright side, you also find out sometimes like after somebody breaks up with you, right? And they think, God, what was I thinking? And it's a humble brag, but I had that happen to me a few times. I should have never let her go, because I didn't realize how much she brought to my life. Or we should, or wow, this place really fell apart after you left. Nobody knew what to do. I mean, we could find things because you labeled everything, but, the demeanor changed. The demeanor changes. That's why I said, also, it's not just about seeing your admins, but if you sit at the front desk, you're the first person people see. So be joyful, be grateful. I wasn't always joyful or grateful, and fortunately for me, because I do struggle with a dinged up mental health, I knew how to fake it till I make it. So I was able to say, good morning, or hey, good morning, how are you doing today? And sometimes I would feel so despondent that there were times I didn't, but somebody would come along and go, hey, how are you doing? Oh, sorry, I didn't even see you there. So gratitude comes in so many different forms. And I'm truly grateful for this quote today. It's longer than the ones we've had in, for a while. But I love it because it is a good reminder. It's a reminder that even when you feel like you don't belong somewhere, be grateful that you're at where you're at. The more gratitude we show, the more we are probably going to move in different directions. This happened to Sissy, believe it or not. I'm going to share her story really quick. Yesterday was actually the anniversary of the day she passed, as well as a friend of mine who passed a couple of years ago, her birthday. And yesterday was also the day that older sibling got her diploma from UCI, University of California, Irvine. So as an HR specialist. So, the reason I'm mentioning these three women, I'm very proud of them all. They all brought something different to the table. I've mentioned how Sissy and I could sometimes have our issues, but with my friend Bunny, whose birthday was yesterday, she would have been 82. She taught me how to get pets to trust you, or feral pets, because my very, very, very first pet, or fur baby, Riley, was pretty much feral, and she taught me all these things. But then she supported my growth. She empowered me. She reminded me of who I am. They all have. One taught determination. But going back to Sissy's story, I'm not sure if she ever expressed gratitude the way we would think, like, I'm so happy and grateful that, but she knew her value. And I think when you know your value, you are able to move in directions with a sense of gratitude. And she was working for this one place that did not see her value. They kind of just piled and piled and piled and just always assumed she'd be there to do things. And her next job did too, but they valued her. They were grateful for her presence. They showed her how much, she meant to them. And, she managed to work her way into a VP role as a senior executive assistant. So, but that was her job. She ran that office. But interestingly enough, she got that job because of an accident in the office where she worked. Something in the kitchen had exploded, leaked right through, damaged equipment downstairs to the offices directly below hers. Next thing you know, she's working for the company down below. And, then they move out to, actually, it was funny because they moved just right across the freeway from where I worked. But there were a lot of times when, she was married to her work. She truly was married to her work. But every so often I would hear her say, I'm just grateful that, I landed here because, it's a lot of work. But they gave her free reign because they trusted her. And that trust is also a sense of gratitude. A lot of times we forget to trust, and when we don't trust, it's like being ungrateful. I'm really hearing this myself. I know. Laura and I had our older sibling. Laura and I had a conversation this morning, and I'm just thinking, I feel her just going, this is what we've been trying to get you to understand. When you don't trust, it's like not being grateful, because you're not trusting the process. You're not allowing things to come to you because you don't believe that it's possible. And maybe that's not even consciously, that may be subconsciously. And I've been doing that. I keep saying, trust is the root of my fear because I don't have any. But turns out I'm still struggling with it. And I'm trying to take it day by day. I'm trying to improve my mental approach to trust. But I think what I just said now, that being ungrateful is like distrusting in, what's happening for you, what's trying to happen for you, what is trying to manifest itself in your life. Because you're not being grateful. You're not trusting that everything's going to work out. See, we can say it all day long, but if you're not feeling it, you're not going to get very far. It's a vibration. It really is a vibration. Think about it. When you sit there and you say, oh, well, thank you, or thank you, but you're not feeling it. But then all of a sudden, You know, maybe someone brings you this random surprise coffee. Oh my God, thank you so much. Notice the difference in how you feel. Now, if you're truly grateful for something, you are probably going to feel a little spark happen, right? But when you're just feeling like you're going through the motions and saying, oh, thank you, or thanks, or, you know, you're not allowing yourself to feel that. Even if somebody sits there and gives you direction that you already know, be grateful. You know, regardless of what their attitude is. Be grateful because you're sitting there in a position. You are making money. You are making money that pays your bills. I wish I had really kind of grasped all these things when I was in that office. Because to be honest with you, I think I would have liked to have left on my own terms. Not have my position eliminated and then sent packing and on my way. You know, and I mean, I've recently heard that, you know, there have been some more downsizing in the office. So, I was given a very good, you know, package to being let go. So I knew some people valued my work. But I spent too many years since then being angry and being bitter and not utilizing the opportunities that I could have created for myself, not utilizing the opportunities of time that we had when we were locked down, of doing what I wanted to do. I let it control my mental health. And for me, I think I'm grateful for that time, to be honest with you, because I really think it helped me find my balance. It helped me heal a lot of things. But, you know, when you look back, you think hindsight's 20/20 and what if? And that's why I do these perspectives, because I know I can't change your life. And I know that I can't run your life or rule your life. But I know when I say these things, it's like when I used to listen to people talking. And I would take the bits that resonated with me. And I talked about this yesterday, or maybe the day before. And I take the bits that resonated with me, and I started to apply them to my life. So I may not be able to change your life directly by living your life for you, but I can say things, I can relate, I can try to give examples in a way that I can indirectly help influence your life. And that's big for me to say, okay, because I am not the most confident person in the world, but people have done it for me. You know, there's 3 people I said good morning to on this show. Baby sibling, older sibling, Eileen. All of them have been very impactful in my life. I talked about Sissy and Bunny. Both of them have been very impactful in my life. Even though they're both gone now, even my mom, there are still things I remember from them that impact my life now, that guides and influence some of my decisions, that make me think, wow, you know what if? Because we can think what if while we look at our past all day long. But what's going to change? Nothing, because it's behind you. But you can take that same phrase and say, what if? And push yourself forward. What if I tried this? Not what if I had tried this? You know, how would it be different? You're not dead. You're still breathing. And as long as you're breathing, there's opportunity out there. As long as you're breathing, you can pursue what you want to pursue. As long as you're breathing, you can make the choices for your life that impact your life. But when you do these things, when things work out, even if they're not working out the way you want them to, or they're not working out at that moment, be grateful. Cultivate the habit of being grateful for every good thing that comes to you. Every breath that comes to you is grateful. You should be grateful for. That doesn't mean you have to sit there and take a breath and say, I'm so happy and grateful I breathe. No, just it's a subconscious thing. Every so often you're going to remember and think, whoa, this is cool. I will be honest with you. In a very different example, but kind of the same idea. Every so often when I'm driving, right? I'm just driving down the road. I might even just be coming home from the grocery store. I'm in the car and I'm thinking, wow. I remember when I was just learning how to drive and I thought I would never get this down. And then suddenly it feels like a miracle that I'm behind the wheel of a car. that I have this opportunity to sit here and do this. That, you know, I am capable of driving from point A to point B and doing it as safely, excuse me, as I possibly can. You know, I had several people teach me how to drive. My parents, they taught me the ins and out of what you should look for. My father taught me always use your spidey instincts. Well, he just said always use your sixth sense when driving, and, you know, assume that, you know, even if somebody doesn't cut you off, just assume that they might, leave your space, blah, blah, blah. They got behind the wheel with me, they see a 5-year-old sitting in the driver's seat. So my cousin Trez taught me how to drive, how to actually drive. And I learned a lot from her too. And I've always been grateful for that. I've always been grateful that someone was willing to take on the job of teaching me how to drive. Otherwise, I wouldn't be behind the wheel of a car. I have a friend who didn't get their license until they were in their 30s. You know, but I've been driving for 31 years. So, you know, to me, sometimes I look back and I think, wow, that's pretty exciting. And I'm grateful for that. But it's things like that. How often are we grateful that we can just climb in the car and go? You know, I was talking about a friend that's in a wheelchair. Well, I haven't actually seen them in a while. I knew them through Sissy Joe. But they were in an accident. Couldn't use their legs anymore, in a wheelchair. They had to learn how to drive all over again because they had hand controls now. And I mean, the story and the way they relate it was hilarious when they were like, because, you know, everything is on the controls, the gas, the brakes, everything. But imagine getting in the car and thinking, I'm so happy and grateful that I don't have to relearn how to do this. I'm so happy and grateful I can get in the car and just do this. We take things for granted. I have taken a lot of things for granted in my life, and I'll be honest with you, I think part of the reason I'm rambling is because I think a lot of it is just coming out now, and I'm really realizing it. The not being grateful enough when I was at work, you know, not being grateful enough for just somehow older sibling and I sustaining life right now. You know, I've been very grateful for the help I've gotten along the way, but I don't think I've been completely grateful of the fact that help has been placed in my path along that way. I haven't been grateful for the opportunities we've had so we can eat, you know, so we can keep the lights on in this house, and or the cable going, you know, all the different factors that factor into this. You know, I know cable may not seem like a big thing, but yeah, you don't miss what you have until you don't have it anymore. And I think we all need to dig a little deeper, not just be grateful for the big things that happen to us in our lives, but, you know, I am horrible when it comes to reminding myself, well, actually, that's probably not the word I wanted to use. It was horrible when my mother died. But I'm grateful that I have found my strength and turned a negative into a positive for me. I mean, there's never going to be anything truly positive about losing someone you love in your life, like Sissy, Mom, or even Bunny. But I try to take the good parts of their life and I try to apply it now to my own and think, you know what? Sometimes I think, what would they do? You know, I know that Bunny was always worried about me in my heart. So now I'm taking steps to fix that, to remedy that. So my heart does beat a very long time. It's doing fine right now, but I really don't want to push that envelope anymore. I don't want to push my luck anymore. Sissy taught me a lot of my admin stuff, but she also taught me not to give up. My mom tried to teach me strength, which I never realized I actually had all that time. It took a lot of strength to get through some of the things I've been through in my life. But she was so protective of me that I never realized that. But I'm grateful for that now, because even though her and I had our headbutting moments as well, I realized that she was doing the best she could. She was coming from the best place she knew. And, you know, I mean, there was a lot of things I wasn't allowed to do when I was growing up because my mom was afraid it would hurt me and my heart. And I used to resent that. But now I think, gosh, you know what? I'm so grateful that somebody loved me that much. You know, I'm so grateful for everybody in my life. Even the people that are no longer in my life that might have brought some toxicity to my life. Because it teaches you value. It teaches you and reminds you what your worth is. I'm not sad I'm not in that office anymore. Because when I look back, it really was kind of festering toxicity in there. And I'm not saying that about everybody, and it's not their fault. Sometimes when we work for bigger, higher powers, and I don't mean the ethereal kind, I mean the ones that sit on the top floor, they sometimes lose touch with the people down below. And that can create resentment. That can create not being valued or not being seen. And I think that we really can gratitude people's attitude. We can make things better. But we have to trust that when we're being grateful, we're truly feeling it. You know, there's a saying when they talk about using the law of attraction, ask, believe, receive, right? Asking is just asking. Believing is trusting. And receiving is obviously getting it. But they should also talk about, you know, ask for it, believe it, and while you're believing it, learn to feel it so you can receive it. If everything is based on a vibration of how you ask, if you're asking from a sad place, nothing's going to happen. If you're asking from a place of really, truly knowing that this can be yours, this or something better, it will probably most likely happen. And I say probably most likely happen in the sense that you may not get what you've asked for, but you'll get what what you should, you'll get what you may not always get what you ask for, but you'll get what you need. You know, it may be that or something better. You know, you may be asking for something, you know, kind of piddly to the universe or God or your source. And they're like, no way, Shelly Marie, you deserve way more than that. Here you go. But you have to trust it. You have to believe it. You have to know that you are worth it. You know, I posted one of the affirmations yesterday. I am enough. And I put on there that I am enough are 3 words that embody several things. Self-respect, self-love, self-worth. When you say you are enough, you are saying, I love myself. I respect myself. I am worthy. You know, so just try to remember that when you're having a bad day, and maybe tie gratitude into it. You could just, you know, maybe if you put in there, I am enough, and, you know, like maybe something's bad is happening to you. I am enough, and it's going to be okay. But I'm grateful for the lesson I'm taking from this. Okay, so I know we went, or I don't know why I always say we. I think it's we because I'm on live. I know we went in a lot of different directions, but I really feel it all ties in together, because there's a lot of examples that we can give a lot of people in life that are other people's examples. I will literally throw myself under a bus to make my point. And I think I did today, not intentionally to hurt myself, but because I think, like I said, I think I was rambling because I was beginning to understand that I wasn't showing gratitude, that I wasn't trusting in the process, that I haven't been believing like I've been telling everybody else to. I don't come on here to purposely be a hypocrite, but sometimes I end up being one because I tell everybody do all these wonderful things, and then I don't take my own advice. I don't listen. You know, I just stand there at the pulpit of the perspective and say, do this. And then I go back to not doing any of it. And I don't want to be a hypocrite. I don't want to be that person that doesn't practice what they preach. And I think a lot of that has been fear. What if people don't like me? What if people think I'm being conceited? What if people think I'm being a narcissist? What if people think that I'm big on myself? I am none of those things. I'm not conceited. I'm not a narcissist. You know, my ego is the one that drags me down. It's the one that says you are not good enough. And yet I tell everybody else, believe that you are enough. Believe that you are good enough, that you're great enough, that you're awesome enough. And then I hit finish on this and it's just like, okay, being back to mundane old me. And I don't want to be that person anymore. And the only way I can really truly do that is not just by trusting, but by eliminating my ego. By not worrying about what everybody else thinks about me. I know who I am in my heart. And as long as you know who you are in your heart, and you know what you stand for, and you know what you believe in, even if it's something somebody else doesn't believe in, you don't need to keep trying to convince the world. But just start with you. Start with the way you live your life. Start with the things you fight for, the things that you believe in. You don't have to be mean to other people to make your point. You know, you don't have to drag people through the mud to make your point. But when you put your truth out there, you are showing the world that you believe you are enough. People may call you a narcissist. People may call you conceited, but you're not. You know, I literally had somebody tell me once, I was standing in a bathroom, I didn't know if somebody else was in there. I was having a really, really bad day. And I said in the mirror, "You are a beautiful human being." But I was trying to say it with some passion in it, like, "You are a beautiful human being." And somebody came out of the bathroom stall and like I said, I was just in the bathroom and the stalls were to the other side of me. And they just kind of gave me a look like, "Really? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, wow, you're big on yourself." And all I could think was, and maybe that's not even the look. They did give me an awkward look, like a really weird, like, whatever kind of look. But that affected me because then I thought, oh God, you know, and I went right back to being the way it was. Then I had somebody else say, "Well, do you like doing this stuff because, you know, you like to hear yourself talk, or do you think you're big on things?" No, I don't. I've known narcissists in my life, so I know what they're like. Narcissists don't give a shit about you. They don't give a shit about how you feel. They just care about themselves. Beyond, you know, we care about ourselves. Yes, self-love is a big thing. But theirs isn't about self-love. Theirs is getting everyone to believe that they are the best. Or there's nothing wrong with them. Or when they do something wrong, that they should be, you know, forgiven. Because it's just, you know, well, they'll throw your words back at you. Because they have no idea what they mean. You know, being conceited is very similar, in my opinion, to that. But loving yourself and having self-love and self-care and self-respect and self-worth means that you look in the mirror and say, "You know what? You're a beautiful person. Now let's try to convince everybody out there who doesn't like themselves that they are too." Because you care about other people. You can look in the mirror all day long and think, "I'm beautiful." I look in the mirror and think that. But then I go out into the world and I feel like I'm the only one that sees me. And if somebody gives me a compliment, says, "Wow, Shelly, you look great today." Oh, well, and all of a sudden, everything I've told myself that morning goes out the window. And suddenly I feel like I have to compliment them back. When I don't just compliment people back. When I give a compliment, I mean it. But for me, even though I mean it, it's also a way of deflecting. When you go in your bathroom today, or any mirror that you pass, you don't have to say it out loud because, you know, sometimes people's judgment can be a bit much. Remind yourself, hey, I'm a handsome guy. I'm a beautiful woman. However you identify, I am enough. I am good enough. And I want other people to feel the same way. Okay? Don't worry about what other people think. What other people think of you is none of your business. And that is the biggest thing that I have to work on, even though I'm always telling you guys, don't worry about what other people think. I do worry about that sometimes because I have this weird need to be validated. You know, this weird need, and that's slowly dying and going away. The only person that needs to truly validate you is you. The only person that truly needs to love you is you. Everything else is a beautiful bonus. Everything else is a wonderful bonus. But when you're able to love yourself, you're able to openly and completely love other people. And remember, like I said, you are not conceited. You are not anything that's negative. You're a person trying to love themselves. And when, you know, and you're indirectly, or maybe even directly, showing people how to love themselves. See, I like to give a lot of advice, and I like to tell people, hey, you know what, you should love yourself more. Because I've always been incapable of it. I've always struggled with it. And so I've always wanted to help other people feel a way I've struggled to feel about myself. And now I think it's time for me to really kind of zero in on me and start, like I said, practicing what I preach. So just so you know that when I do these things, it's because I want people to feel a way I never thought I could feel. And I am telling you this now, even though I need to practice what I preach a little bit more, I have found my self-love. And it may not be overly glowy to other people because I'm still trying to find that balance within it. But the first time I really felt it spark, it felt like my whole world changed. Because I did stop worrying about a lot of things. I did stop thinking, am I enough for somebody else? Am I enough for this world? Because I'm enough for me. And you should be enough for you. And that's my wish for everybody. That's why I'm doing these 28 lessons of gratitude. So I'm going to read this one more time. And then, I'll let you get back to your day. Cultivate the habit of being grateful for every good thing that comes to you and to give thanks continuously. And because all things have contributed to your advancement, you should include all things in your gratitude. Be grateful for everything, even every breath that you take. All right. So I know, right? Now I got that police song in my head. Ralph Waldo Emerson. I don't think I can add anything more than I've already added. So I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Go enjoy your Thursday. We're almost to the weekend. Some people may not even have to work tomorrow. I don't know. Or maybe have shorter days tomorrow. But, just start being grateful for that. If you're mad at the holiday coming up, or I know lots of people find reasons to be mad at every holiday. So just be grateful you have a day off. Hey, you're being paid to not work. So, just enjoy that, because a lot of people do have to work on that day. Retail people have to work on that day. Restaurant people, fast food people, grocery store people. If you were not in a corporation, you were probably working that day. Okay, maybe not. I don't know. But just be grateful if you have that day off. All right. So again, I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Practice your self-care, practice your self-love, practice your self-worth. Remind yourself that you are enough, that you are good enough. Go out there, change the world. Be there for somebody. We may not be able to change the world like that, but we can change it one person at a time. And a lot of times it starts with us. All right. So I'll see you back here tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Tomorrow is Aloha Oracle Friday. So I'll be pulling the cards, giving some advice, giving some guidance to anybody that pops on in or anybody that watches it later. If you have something that you want answered or you maybe need guidance on, put it out to your source, your higher power, the universe, whichever. Maybe they will, maybe they won't come in to give you that message. I can't guarantee anything. I do work through a good place. I do work from a good place. The messages may not always be what you want to hear, but I only come from a place of a lot of love and light. All right. So that'll be tomorrow. I will do a quick run through of the 3 days of gratitude that was shared this week. And I will see you then. All the lives are public under Shelley Marie Lucas, or you can watch the replay on the Aloha Perspective with Shelley Marie Lucas on YouTube. Okay. I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. And thank you so much for watching.